Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us across the fence. I'm Fran Stoddard. As the class of 2022 prepares to graduate from the University of Vermont, 9 out of 10 senior students report involvement in research, internships, or other experience-based learning projects while studying at UVM. To support undergraduate students with their research, UVM provides $300,000 in funding. Students' research topics run the gamut from biomedical research to philosophy. Across the Fence spoke recently with 2 UVM students in the College of Agriculture and Life Sciences about their research on the prevalence of salmonella in Vermont's backyard chicken flocks.
I'm Kata Larson, and I'm a microbiology major in the College of Agriculture and Life Sciences.
And my name is Jake Bears. I'm also in the College of Agriculture and Life Sciences here at the University of Vermont.
It's important to note that the primary Salmonella enterica initiatives are monitoring.
So we were researching the rates of Salmonella enterica in hatchling chicks from agricultural stores in Vermont.
Vermont's a very rural state. A lot of people, especially during the pandemic, have gone and decided to start their own backyard chicken flock, try something new. They have a lot of spare time on their hands. So our research, very relevant to today and Vermont. So we want to hopefully inform some best practices for those people who are going out for the first time and getting chickens and not really sure if they know all the best husbandry practices. So hopefully we can have an impact on that.
What were you researching?
We would go across the state to agricultural supply stores or flocks, backyard flocks, and collect samples, bedding samples, things of that nature. And basically use, we're both microbiology majors, so we'd use our laboratory skills to kind of get the salmonella isolated from that, and then we're using that to see what kind of factors increase that prevalence of salmonella and increase the rate of how much there is across the state.
So what did the background research tell you? Do we have a huge problem? Is it out of control? We have no problem?
It's a little complicated. Basically, what we do is we take bedding samples. Primarily, we are looking at the rates of salmonella coming from the hatcheries because the hatcheries are not in Vermont. They are nationwide. So people will get it really from anywhere in the country, and then they'll get chicks shipped to these agricultural stores, which then distribute it to the general public. I know in Massachusetts you have to buy about 6 chicks. I think that's pretty standard. And basically, we did find that in the year 2021 compared to the year 2020, there was a massive increase in the rates of salmonella.
Coming through these supply chains?
Yes, yeah. Coming through the supply chains, coming from the hatcheries. We primarily looked at whether or not hatcheries were NPIP certified or non-NPIP certified. NPIP stands for the National Poultry Improvement Plan, and essentially it means that there's a variety of different aspects to that plan, but for salmonella, it's a salmonella monitoring program as opposed to things with such as highly pathogenic avian influenza, which is a clean program. So if they find that, that flock would have to be probably recalled, culled, and then with salmonella, they're just testing and monitoring for the rates of it. And we ended up finding that NPIP certified hatcheries had a significantly higher rate of salmonella, which was shocking.
What can a viewer take away from the research that you guys have done?
I would say it's just really important to be practicing those biosafety measures around your chicks. And your chickens, do not allow kids to be around them because everyone knows chicks are really cute and they want to snuggle up to them, but chicks do have a higher rate of salmonella than the adults. It's a much higher risk, and with young kids, you can look at a significantly higher risk of a pretty severe illness. Have different shoes for your coop when you're going into your coop and cleaning it out than the ones that you wear in your house. Make sure to wash your hands. Be careful about how you wash your eggs because that can actually increase the rate of how salmonella can get into the eggs. And there's just a variety of practices that just involve making sure that you're reducing the likelihood that you could get it if your flock does have it.
Ultimately, the goal is just to try to let people know about these risks and to hopefully avoid.
Does this end here? Is this research now over?
The research is going to be continuing this coming year, and if anyone is interested in participating, the research is done under Dr. Andrea Etter at the University of Vermont. She is in the Department of Nutrition and Food Sciences.
I really enjoyed being able to do so many different aspects of this research, going out into the field and collecting samples, doing the microbiology skills in the lab, and then working collaboratively. We have a big team under Dr. Etter, and it's been a lot of fun.
I have really loved working on this project. I've been on it for a very long time, and I'm graduating, so I will be leaving it soon, which is actually very, very sad for me. But it has completely redirected where I want to go with my life working on it. I have basically learned that I want to continue on in research in a wet microbiology lab. Hands-on stuff, it makes me happy. I really like doing it.
It's nice to just, do something outside of the classroom. There's a lot of lecturing, especially in our department, so it's nice to not only do that lab stuff, but also go across the state to all these different places and see all the chicks and chickens across the state. So
That opportunity to get out, research is the real world. That's what this was, real world?
Yeah, it was a really amazing opportunity to actually put into practice what we've been learning in our classes, which I learn best by doing. So I can sit there and lecture and get good grades on tests and stuff, but I'm not going to really learn how to do something unless I've done it a couple of times.
Congratulations to Kata and Jake. We'll feature additional students and their research projects in upcoming programs. The maple sugaring season has come to a close, but like all aspects of farming, the work of a sugar maker never really ends. For instance, the grading of maple syrup is the responsibility of the sugar maker. Their job is to ensure that Vermont maple lives up to the high standards consumers know and expect. In order to properly grade syrup, the product has to be tasted. Yes, it's a tough job, but somebody's got to do it. And to learn how to do it correctly, there's a maple grading school. Keith Silva has the story.
As summer greens give way to autumn golds, sugar makers gather at the Proctor Maple Research Center to learn how maple syrup makes the grade.
Dear God.
Or not.
It's easy to know what bad tastes like. It's hard to explain why. Yeah.
During the summer and fall, the International Maple Syrup Institute, a nonprofit organization representing all facets of the maple industry, funds maple grading schools across North America. Grade A pure maple syrup must fit within the standards for color, clarity, density, and flavor. The grader then determines which grade the syrup receives. Golden, which has a delicate taste, amber, a rich taste, dark, a robust taste, and very dark, which has a strong taste. The school teaches how to discern differences in these criteria and classifications. Also as important is how to tell when the taste is off.
We all have different sensitivities.
Mark Isselhart is UVM Extension's maple specialist.
Have you tasted bad syrup before?
Sure, yeah, it happens all the time. I've even made some bad syrup, so it does happen, and that's okay. The thing not to do is ignore it. The thing is to identify that there's an issue and try to figure out what has gone wrong. Sometimes it can be really hard to figure out. I know it's not right, but I just don't know why. That's part of what we do is to try to help answer that question.
Environmental factors and production practices impact the grade of maple syrup. Ultimately, it's the responsibility of the maple producer to ensure off-flavor syrup never reaches the consumer.
Now, I don't have a very good palate, I either like it or I don't. That's about as far as my palate goes.
Dale and Melanie Miller drove 8 hours from north central Pennsylvania to attend the grading school. They run a 7,000 tap operation on 550 acres. For Dale, this school is about gaining an advantage.
I'm always looking for an edge. I come from an area that's very highly competitive. There's probably 6 or 8 producers in our area. We enter all the contests and we do all that stuff, and trying to do that. And so, I'm looking for that edge that I can have, that I can, detect the flavors, or maybe, it's all good. It's interesting to taste the different flavors and maybe detect what caused them. Maybe it's something that you can change to do that. Obviously, some of the stuff that happens naturally, the buddy syrup and different things is not something you can do anything about it except maybe quit.
Tucker Diego works in the Consumer Protection and Food Safety Division at the Vermont Agency of Agriculture, Food and Markets. Part of his job is investigating concerns from consumers and sugar makers when something doesn't taste quite right.
The unique thing about maple is that grading involves the flavor component. So there's no way to test the flavor, you have to taste it. So part of my work, and this is where the training comes in, is being able to develop my skills at picking out those flavors, those off flavors, so that I can more accurately grade those products when I'm out doing a retail store inspection.
For Diego, detecting the subtleties of maple syrup means developing a taste for it.
A lot of the times you know immediately there's something wrong with the sample, but knowing how to describe what you're tasting is hard. There's kind of a whole language that goes with it, and so that's why tasting as a group is really helpful. It doesn't always hit you immediately. It can kind of linger on your tongue or on the roof of your mouth, and that's something that this training is really helpful to practice that. So there's a lot of things that we need to know how to pick up, but at the end of the day, it's fairly straightforward to tell that there's something wrong in this sample.
Grading maple syrup is the last stop in a long process, and if it's done well, the results are all the sweeter for the sugar maker.
There's too much work involved in making pure maple syrup. Everything from carefully growing and making sure you have a healthy forest to the hard work of installing tubing, tapping, all of that before you even get into the sugar house. Once you get into the sugar house, there's all the work of making it this luxury food product. It would be a real shame to lose value by just not identifying when they're off flavors or having some part of the process be done incorrectly.
For these sugar makers and maple industry pros, scoring a spot at the Maple Grading School guarantees many sweet returns. In Underhill, I'm Keith Silva with Across the Fence.
And that's our program for today. Once again, thank you for joining us Across the Fence. I'm Fran Stoddard. Stay well.